Blossoms of Bliss. Mention can be made here of a small book, Dialogues with the Divine, brought out by the Maharashtra branch of the Prashanti Vidwan Mahasabha, an all India academy of scholars and sadhakas founded by Baba. This work has, as Baba writes, blossomed out of the bliss that V.S. Page has earned and enjoyed in his inner self. When he sat at the feet of Sri Satya Sai Baba and questioned him with humility on various problems arising out of his studies and spiritual practices, Baba tells him, nothing can be attained without ceaseless practice. So every moment you should remember God and be happy in the thought. Then only will you be able to attain peace. Are we not at peace when one thought ceases and another does not arise? You have to wait for that gap. Be at that one with that peace. Then that peace will become continuous and lasting. Thoughts ever rise and subside as ripples on the surface of water. You have to look at the mass of water, not merely at the ripples. Similarly, the Atman ever dwells in peace, but man fails to realize this and remains ever absorbed in the vacillations of the mind. Nityavadhan, constant vigilance, is needed to ignore the waves and watch the water. Restlessness is but the rise and fall of the wave on the ocean that you are. The next Vahini to be published serially in the Sanatana Sarathi was the Jnana Vahini, stream of wisdom. Whenever the gross and even, the subtle are transcended, when the intelligence is clarified, when the self is free from feelings, impulses, and instincts, what remains in the consciousness is the true self only. The person then is one with the eternal truth, the one beyond everything. He becomes Brahman or Paramatma, says Baba. This awareness is the acme of Ananda. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, it is declared that from Ananda all this merged, and in Ananda all this rests. The greater the awareness of Paramatman, the more the Ananda. Baba summarizes the truth in one sentence: awareness is life, and then goes on to reveal, all men are divine, like myself. The only difference is that they are yet unaware of their divinity. They have come into this karmic prison through the karmas of many lives. I have taken to this mortal form out of my own free will. They are bound to the body while I am free of this bondage. Another of the Vahinis is the Upanishad Vahini, a synoptic review of the 10 principal Upanishads with a prologue and an epilogue on the rare text called the Brahmanubhava Upanishad. These Upanishads are esoteric and highly cryptic, but they elucidate the highest truths discernible to the intellect of man. Baba stopped short of the 5th form in high school when he was 14 years of age. He did not read books or learn from any teacher. He is wisdom incarnate. He is poet, pundit, linguist, educationist, artist, mystic, the best in each field. In his discourses, he quotes freely from the Bible, the Quran, the poems of the Sufis, the dialogues of Socrates, Kant, and Karl Marx, and from the myths and legends of ancient cultures. He quotes from the Upanishads and reveals new significance in the utterances of the sages, to the astonishment of the savants who have too long been content with arid dialectics they have treasured. On 15 evenings, Baba held a gathering of over 5,000 students and scholars at Vrindavan. Spellbound by his elegant and eloquent analysis of the Vedic word Brahman, which means, as Baba writes in the Jnana Vahini, big, enlarged, gross, high, since it comes from the root Brah. He carefully untied the knots which pegged that portentous word to a cluster of irrelevancies and misconceptions. He traced the genealogy of the word from its roots to the tallest branch and the tiniest twig. He ransacked without compunction the nooks and corners of Vedic texts to expose the excesses that had gathered on that word as it rolled down the corridor of time. On subsequent evenings for another fortnight, Baba spoke on another Vedic word, Bharat. He elaborated upon the origin and migrations of the word among people and through the texts. Baba has declared more than once that the revival of Vedic studies and research with the aim of reviving of the practice of Vedic ideals is one of his plans for rehabilitating man. The flow of the Upanishad. Baba therefore decided on a small book of the Upanishads in order to rivet the attention of the world to the efficacy of Vedanta. As editor of the magazine, which published serially the chapters of this book, I had an amazing experience every month for a whole year. After dispatching the magazine on the 16th of the month, I would go to him for the next part of the series. Announcing the name of the Upanishad himself, he would ask me to wait for a while in his room and proceed along the veranda with a notebook and pen towards the room, where there stood a table with a chair by its side and nothing else besides. Once it was the turn of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad to be summarized and simplified. It is the biggest and the profoundest of the 10. I am certain that Baba had never read it or consulted others who could talk on it. As there was no copy available anywhere within miles, but 40 minutes after he moved out with the pen and the notebook as his sole possessions, I could descend the 18 steps from his room with a 10-page dissertation on the truths this Upanishad enshrined. I peeped into the script as I walked towards the press, and my eyes fell on the Telugu words which said, "The grandeur of the intellect of sage Yajnavalkya is impressively evident in this Upanishad." I told myself, the grandeur of the omniscient teacher that Baba is now impressively evident to me. Vedic literature is classified as ritualistic, consecrational and metaphysical, karma, upasana and jnana, and the Upanishads are grouped under the third category. But Baba says that each principle Upanishad deals with all the three and is therefore instructive for all types of sadhakas. Besides special rites described in most of them, the adoration of preceptors or deities is also recommended. Baba says the Upanishads enshrine the whisperings of God to man. About the 10 on which Shankara and other scholar saints have written detailed expositions, Baba says humanity stands to gain or fall by these 10. They are the synthesis of human thought, experience, and aspiration at their highest. They confirm the possibility of human perfectibility. They declare and demonstrate that man can secure the awareness of God as his reality if only he casts off the veil of ignorance that he now delights to wear. Gita Retold. Baba's Gita Vahini is the Bhagavad Gita retold in order to save modern man from the myopia of egoistic materialism. He has declared that he has come to unify and clarify, fructify and fortify the holy aspirations of man. The doubts and delusions which torment us while we are engaged in the battle of Kurukshetra with our outer and inner kith and kin are treated here with love and sympathy by Sai Krishna, who also provides us with the answers. I was once taken by an octogenarian Pandit, a professor of Sanskrit and a retired inspector of Sanskrit schools in the state of Orissa, to the Gita Mandir that he had built at Puri. He had spent all his earnings on the construction of this memorial. The temple is in the form of a magnificent chariot over 20 feet in height, complete with wheels and horses. He had explained to me with a glint in his eye and a tremor in his voice the symbols he had got carved around the chariot. The figures represented various steps in sadhana and stages of spiritual achievement. There was Hanuman on the flag of the pole fixed atop the chariot, and when we stood in front of the chariot and looked up, I could see two mysteriously real statues seated upon it, the Lord and his disciple, who was just awakening from his self-inflicted stupor. It was a moment of thrill for me. I had not expected such a satisfying impact. I saw the disarming smile on the countenance of the Lord when he recognized the dawn of self-knowledge on the doubting and dismay-ridden mind of his disciple. His hand extended lovingly towards Arjuna, as if he wished to draw him closer to himself, and on that hand I could see resting upon his palm the book of books, the Gita Vahini of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. I saw Sai Krishna comforting, consoling, and convincing Arjuna. The Pandit knew that Baba's Gita Vahini was not a resume or a commentary or an abridgment. It was the voice of Krishna himself, ringing over the clash of hate and greed and calling us into more worthwhile victories. We are encouraged in Gita Vahini to offer Baba the prayer he puts into the heart of Arjuna. As you are guiding this chariot, guide me also and show me the way. For he is in fact the charioteer installed in everybody. The Gita, as expounded by Baba, is a textbook of yoga and guide for sadhana. It is Yoga Shastra and Brahma Vidya rolled into one. Through smile and story, sneer and laughter, banter and reprimand, question and counter-question, Baba pours into us the nectar of wisdom. At Kurukshetra, Krishna said that the mind and its vagaries can be tamed by abhyasa, discipline, and vairagya, detachment. In Gita Vahini, Sai Krishna adds vichara, discriminative reasoning. Baba also analyzes the concept of kshetra, yajna, yoga, and maya, and sheds light on many corners, which the lamps of the ancient masters did not illumine. The ideal of nishkama karma, selfless action, gets a glow of heroism when he interprets it as a conscious refusal of the fruits of activity, a courageous turning away from both triumph and failure. Self-revelation. There are many passages in Gita Vahini of self-revelation by Baba, where it becomes difficult to determine who is speaking to us so intimately, Krishna or Sai. How can I ever forget him who never forgets me, is the question. Forgetting is a human frailty. Let me tell you, there is no need for yoga or tapas or even jnana. I only ask you to fix your mind on me. Dedicate it to me. That is all I demand and all that you need to do. This is the promise of grace, which all Arjunas can hope to receive. Grace revives us when we are in great pain and restlessness. It revives us when we totter through the dark alleys of a meaningless and empty life. It revives us when our disgust for our being, our indifference, our weakness, our hostility, and our total lack of direction and composure have become intolerable. It revives us when, year after year, the longed for perfection does not appear, when stale compulsions reign within us as they have done for decades, and when despair destroys all happiness and courage. Sometimes at that moment, a wave of light breaks into our darkness, like the voice which Tillich describes in his book, The New Being, saying, "You are accepted." Gita Vahini also condemns fanatic blinkered gurus and pompous exponents of the Gita, whose oratory sounds hollow because they do not themselves practice what the Gita preaches. The Gita is a central gem in the crest jewel of the great Indian epic, the Mahabharata. Sage Vyasa wove this intricate tapestry of sublime heroism, physical, mental, moral, and spiritual. He had also codified the Vedic hymns and rituals. He prepared a magnificent garland of aphorisms summarizing the basic philosophic truths. In spite of his encyclopedic scholarship and great creative skill in the realm of thought, Vyasa was afflicted by a deep inner sadness. He had no sweetness or peace left in him. Narada, the sage who propagated the validity of devotion as a means of achieving bliss, had advised Vyasa to describe the glories of God who had incarnated as Krishna. The exposition that did emerge from this advice is called the Bhagavad Purana, and Baba has given it to us again in a sweeter and more concise form as Bhagavad Vahini. Sentence of Death. Baba's Bhagavad Vahini flows clear and cool, straight from the page to the heart. The book contains 338 pages, the first 270 and the last 90 of which thrill us by the narration of the Leelas of Krishna and of the dedicatory acts of those who received his grace, while about 40 pages are devoted to the vast regions mapped by Vyasa under the compulsions of scholastic norms. As a result, Bhagavata Vahini is not just a book, it's a tonic, a balm, a pilgrimage, a hallelujah, a clarion call, a beacon light. It is designed by Baba to loosen our bondage from the trivial and to tame the wildness of our minds. Vyasa's son Shuka had recited the Bhagavata for the benefit of King Parikshit, who had been cursed to die at the end of 7 days. The recitation occupied those 7 days. Since the king had filled his mind with this narrative of the glory of the Lord, he died with the name of God on his lips and the form of God before his eyes. Each one of us is under such a sentence of death. Only we do not know when death will confront us. The Bhagavata Vahini can save all those who choose to be free from the fear of death and prepare them for passing beyond the realm of life cheerfully and hopefully. Remembering the past. The latest of the Vahinis to emerge from Baba's pen is a lucid narrative of Rama's life, the Ramakatha Rasavahini. Baba has announced that he is the same Rama come again to carry out his mission through his horde of followers. Drawn by his love, we have the same good fortune now to share in his task of remolding man after his image. While recounting the incidents of his life as Rama, Baba has included in his narrative certain details of dialogues and diversions not contemplated by Valmiki or any subsequent author. He mentions many additional events and encounters which fill the lacunae that have long disturbed admirers of the Ramayana. The controversy over whether Rama is to be reckoned as a historic prince or as God incarnate has been set to rest by Baba. Ramakatha Rasavahini is the very nectar of the epic. Letters from him. The Avatar's pen writes letters to persons anguished by doubt and defeated by disaster. These letters carry his love and mercy into their hearts and heal the wounds that fester there. Invariably, they feed and foster the springs of spiritual striving and help in the growth of love. No occasion is too routine, too trite, or too grand for him to play his role as a teacher. Writing to a couple on the occasion of their marriage, he tells them, "You're not just boy and girl coming together. You are Shiva Shakti hyphenated. As truly as I am the right and the left halves of the same body. May you be ever in the shade of joy and contentment. May you both float as one of the waves of ecstatic love. May you sway merrily on the flower-bedecked swing of faith, held by the ropes of courage and confidence. May this boat, which you are boarding this day, be loaded with happy comradeship and festivity, health and wholesomeness, to reach safe and smooth at the lotus feet of the Lord. Row it forward, both of you, with the oars of self-surrender and service, and let its sail be filled with the breeze of grace." In a letter to a devotee on his 60th birthday, he writes, "Awaken, Satya Sai, who resides in your heart as your loving my mother, is heaping Ananda on you. He is blessing you that you may have a long life, sound health, peace of mind, devotion to God, detachment from the transient objects of the world, and success in the search for your own truth, your reality. May you, your children, and your grandchildren be happy and prosperous. May you spread delight all around you. May you achieve the role of the witness, content in the contemplation of the manifold Leelas of God. May you ever be in good and godly company, and may your hours be spent in the recapitulation of the glories of God. Here, hold forth your palm and receive this Amrita that I am offering, the Amrita of love. No nectar can be sweeter and more invigorating. Sai will save you." To a 90-year-old devotee fast sinking into the lap of the Lord, he wrote, "Narasamma, accept my blessings. Sai is in your heart. He will not move away. Say Sai with every breath. Spend every moment repeating that name. Spend all your thought trying to picture Sai standing near you. Sai will save you. You will be merged in Sai. You will be in Sai eternally. It need not be said that the gentle calm descended upon the face of this blessed lady. Seconds before her death, she chewed some vibhuti miraculously dropped into her mouth by Sai, who gave her both darshan and prasad as promised. His letters quicken the pulse, warm the heart, and soothe the pain. A devotee wrote to him that he had to sorrowfully forego his visit to Prashanti Nilayam during the Dashara celebrations because his mother was seriously ill. Some months earlier, the government had posted him as magistrate in a town only a few hundred miles from Prashanti Nilayam. But he had prayed to Baba that he may be transferred even nearer. However, he was actually shunted to a place 1,000 miles away on the Bay of Bengal near the Orissa border. Baba wrote to him, I got your letter. I accept your prostrations. I am aware of the anguish which you communicate to me. The anguish of separation from the one you really adore and love is the best sadhana. Be brisk in that sadhana. Continue yearning more and more ardently. That is the best means of ensuring Sai's presence in your heart. I know you are happy only when you are in Sai. And remember always that happiness is my daily food. That your happiness is my daily food. My dear child, why are you sad at not being able to serve Sai during the Dasara festival that is nearing fast? You are sorry that your mother's illness prevents you from coming to me. Well, is it not service to your mother, service rendered to me? The mother, who is called I, Tai, and Mai, is no other than Sai. Serve her, and through that service worship her. Why hesitate or doubt or grieve? All the time, ever with you, as close and as alert as the eyelids to the eye. Sai is guiding you. He is where you are, accepting your day's puja, receiving your offerings, and giving you the ananda of grace. He will not forget you or give you up. He will never move out of your heart. Convey my blessings to your mother. Tell her on my behalf to fix her mind on the Atman as Rama, to the exclusion of every other thought. That is the strongest support, the most reliable refuge. That is the unshakable, unseen base. The rest are but short-lived superstructures, mirages, castles in the air. Tell her to have the name always on the tongue and to meditate on God, seated on the swing that oscillates in her heart. Tell her to picture God playing on the waves of Ananda inside her consciousness. That is a real sadhana, which I teach every day. Convey my blessings to your Grihalakshmi, wife, also referred to as the goddess of prosperity and felicity presiding over the home. You can very soon be in the presence and derive the ananda you crave for. Sai, the resident of your heart. He wrote to an old lady whose husband had died in an accident. Marriage binds two persons together as husband and wife. What were they to each other minutes before? The one would not have worried for the other if the wedding had not happened. Where was the son or the brother before conception? Life is an interlude between what was and what will be. During this interlude, one should not lament over what cannot be helped or set right, but should seek God and take refuge in Him. Your husband lived a good life in the light of the truth he had glimpsed. He did no wrong to anyone. He loved and served the suffering and the illiterate. He salvaged many families from penury and infamy. He helped many young people to go through college. Many sick persons were saved by his timely donations. He was ever cheerful and spread cheer wherever he went. And at last, God willed that he cast away the body that limited him. Of what use is it now to calculate what might have happened had he not gone to Madras that day? Your duty now is to sustain the greatness he earned, to follow the ideals that he had placed before himself. Your husband is here in my presence, and he will be here forever, as he had wished to be even when alive. Swami will not allow him to be separated from his presence. He is now free from all bonds and boundaries. You are indeed fortunate that destiny drove you to him and gave you so many years of loving companionship with such a fine person. His thoughts were pure. There was no blemish of envy, hatred, or greed in him. So, his place is with me forever. I am writing this letter to you in order to shower on you the cool rain of love. That rain will scorch the flames of grief that are now raging within you. Your husband is at Prashanti Nilayam, in the presence of Sai, having attained that climax by his spiritual consciousness. The Gita describes the Lord as the friend of all beings, Sarva Bhuta Suhrid. These letters reveal that he is more reassuring than any father, more affectionate than any mother, more considerate than any kinsman, and more just than any human authority. The blessing that Baba confers on lives dedicated to God, who is enshrined within us, invariably everlasting life in himself. Letter to me. Let me take the liberty of allowing you to read one of the letters that Baba wrote to me 22 years ago. It illustrates his omnipresence and his omniscience, as well as his boundless love attributes that he has decided to demonstrate in his avataric form in order to draw into the crucible of transformation the people of the world. I had returned to Bangalore after a long and arduous pilgrimage to the holy shrines on the Ganges to Bodh Gaya, Dakshineshwar, Kamarpukar, and Puri. I was urged to take my mother and wife on this pilgrimage by Baba himself. He had blessed us the day we had set out and assured us that we would have him with us during our journey. He had said, on 3 railway tickets, 4 shall travel. Baba, we knew, is the stowaway in every ark, which breasts the deluge of delusion. He is the companion of all who progress on the road of pilgrimage. When I had finished the assignment he had given me, I wrote to him at Kodaikanal Hill, where he was staying at that time, expressing our gratitude and informing him that all 3 of us had clear and tangible visions of him at Rishikesh, Varanasi, and Gaya. In the reply that I received, Baba wrote, "Your letter reached me at Kodaikanal in time, but since we came down to Madras that very day, I could not send you a reply. I reached Madras on the 25th around midnight. The letter is dated 26. I am happy that you have returned full of joy after visiting the holy places with your Matrudevi, Venerable Mother. How can delay, disappointment, or danger cross your path when Swami is ever with you? My name is not distinct from my form. The name recalls the form as soon as it is pronounced or heard. When the form is seen, the name comes into awareness that very moment. So since the name is ever dancing on your tongue, the form too has to be before you and beside you. What need is there to mention this in your letter as a gift from me? I have to manifest the form whenever and wherever my name is remembered with faith or sung with devotion." You might say that those visions were boons of grace from Swami. No, I always say sadhana first, sankalpa later. That is the correct order. My sankalpa will confers bliss only after assessing the depth of yearning in the devotee. Sadhana is the essential prerequisite. You were a professor and so you can understand this easily. You must have evaluated the written answers of your students. You evaluate and assign them marks only after careful scrutiny of what they have written. Don't you? I too measure and weigh the sincerity and steadiness of the sadhana you have imposed upon yourself, and I frame my sankalpa accordingly. Of course, many are not aware that the misery in which they find themselves can be negated by sadhana. At Kodaikanal, thousands had gathered for the evening bhajans. They were having darshan for the first time in their lives. It was their right to get darshan that had brought me to this hill station. For, as you know, I had not planned to come here. It all happened so suddenly. Your daughter was very upset the other night over her husband's health. His illness had taken a turn for the worse. I was there when your daughter wrote me a letter about his condition. She posted it next morning to the Puttaparthi address. It has not reached me yet, but I knew its contents even while it was being written. When Swami's grace is available in plenty, why fear? Dear child, now I wish to quote from a letter written to a devotee who, due to desperate financial strains, had desired to flee the country and proceed to Malaysia, but later planned to commit suicide when his steamer ticket and travel documents were stolen by pickpockets inside the harbour area at Madras. This letter was written when Baba was 23 years of age. Pattabhi, dear devotee, Swami is writing to you. See, he is blessing you. Dear child, but what madness is this? What a letter you have written and left at home. It is foolish to be hasty. Think over your affairs calmly. Slow deliberation always reveals the true and the beneficial. Think of the crores of people the world over who are in conditions far worse than yours. Remember always, you have me to guard you and guide you. How many of them have this fortune? Consider that. Are you the only victim of poverty and indebtedness? The step you are contemplating cannot give you rest or peace. It is not right. It is not manly to run away from responsibility. Listen to me. Go back to your place. Be bold and face the world with courage, for courage will set you free. It will conquer all obstacles. Give up your foolish plan to escape. And Pattabhi went back, recovered self-confidence, and made a success of himself. While with these individuals, Baba is so gracious, he does not pardon or pass over indiscipline or ill behavior among those he warns should lead exemplary lives. He wrote to a state president of the Sri Satya Sai Seva Samiti. There is no use my writing about the Samitis. I have been saying that the next world should be gained by man's triumph over the fascinations and fancies of this world. But the members of the organization have given up all thought of future lives and the other world. They behave as if this life, this world, is the only one. To them, this seems the only measure, the only goal. For such persons, illumination can be only as faint as the glowworm in the night. Though the stars twinkle in the night and appear as tiny specks, when compared in brightness to the moon, they are really much more brilliant. Each of them is 100 suns rolled into one. But for the limited vision of ignorant onlookers, the star is a spark and the moon is a huge source of light. Such men think of the future because of its distance as quite trivial and of the present due to its immediate proximity as very important. They pay no attention to the stars but continue to be overawed by the moon. Civilization today is concerned with the atom, but it ignores the Atman.